spend proper money to get results. So LinkedIn was kind of differentiating itself from other platforms like Facebook, where you can post a post for 20 quid. They were trying to demonstrate that LinkedIn is not like that. The more you put in, generally, the more you put out. So at the time, I was working for a company in biotechnology life sciences. We provided customer data to probiotic manufacturers and ingredient suppliers. And the business problem that we had at that time was that we had access to some niche B2B publishing outlets because we were part of the parent company who owned them. But the campaigns that we were running on those platforms was not really reaching the key decision makers we wanted to reach. They were not engaging with the campaigns we were putting out on that platform. So with the targeting we had access to on LinkedIn, I thought that would be a great opportunity to get in front of those people. So with that $400 voucher, I ran a campaign where it was a downloadable white paper, and I think I generated about 30 leads, and they did match exactly the ideal customer persona we wanted to target. So the business I worked for was very happy with me, and they gave me another $400 to promote a report on the probiotics market that we were selling. And it was the same system. It was a lead gen ad form with a preview of the report as downloadable. So the report was priced at $5,000. And in that campaign, the sales rep would call all of the leads afterwards and say, hello, would you like a copy of the report? It's $5,000. And one of the leads went, yes, we would like the report. And honestly, it was quite early in my career, but I'm sure we can relate to the feeling as marketers where something we do immediately produces cold hard cash. You literally feel like the queen of marketing shooter. I was just like, this is great. I'm best at LinkedIn, always this way. And yeah, the answer is LinkedIn is not always that way. I've run many LinkedIn campaigns since then, and I've learned a lot of things, which hopefully I'm going to be able to pass on to you today so that you can benefit from it going into your first campaign or looking at your existing campaigns. So a couple of pros and cons. Like I mentioned before, the native lead generation form, it has a much better completion rate than sending somebody to a separate landing page on your website. LinkedIn officially says 13%, and I'm not blowing my own trumpet here, but for campaigns I'm running, anything under 20%, I would be looking at the copy on the form, or if we are asking too much, because to me, the average tends to be around 30%. So I think on B2B landing pages, traditionally, the conversion rate's like 2 or 3%, so it's many, many times higher because you've got the pre-populated data and you're not asking them to leave the LinkedIn platform. Secondly, when you're catching people on LinkedIn, you're generally catching them in work mode, so arguably they might be more receptive or more interested in downloading something from you. Another advantage is the range of ad formats. So you have the sort of traditional social media ones like single image, carousel, video, but you've got some really cool format options, especially for content that's slightly further down the funnel, like conversation ads and document ads, which I'm going to talk a little bit about later. And of course, the main reason I was interested in LinkedIn as a platform is the level of professional, like targeting based on professional demographics. It really is unmatched by any other platform. So you can target by things like job titles, job functions. For company targeting, you can even include things like the growth rate or revenue. It is relying on the data that LinkedIn has, but I've found it to generally be okay. So especially when you combine these different segments, you can get really, really specific, which if you're in a niche is super important. Okay, so some negatives. You might have heard this about LinkedIn ads. It's expensive compared to Meta or Reddit ads. The cost per click is a lot higher. Just to give you an idea, I think today I looked at the average cost per click for Meta was around $2. On LinkedIn ads, it's $5. So you're paying for that premium professional targeting, and as a result, any mistakes you make are going to be quite costly. So that could be your campaign setup, your targeting, a lack of exclusions in your targeting. These things are going to cost you much more dearly on LinkedIn as a platform. And as with all platform ads, the interface is hideous. It's like they don't want you to use it. And also many of the options that are going to save you money are often hidden away in little sub-menus. So I'll touch on a few of those later. And this last one, to me, it's not really a disadvantage, but every salesperson I've ever worked with has complained that the email email address is often attached to LinkedIn accounts are personal. I think with access to the kind of data enrichment tools or third-party data tools that we have, this isn't really a problem, but I also don't like being moaned at, so if that bothers you, maybe that's a disadvantage. So as we move into the strategy part of this talk, a really important first question to ask yourself is LinkedIn ads even right for your business? So you want to ask yourself two main questions when you're assessing this. Firstly, do your audience actually spend time on LinkedIn? I'm not talking about are they a member of LinkedIn, because there are plenty of people who are, but some people barely log in. And your advertising is only going to be shown to people who are on LinkedIn and proactively engage with the feed. At the end of the day, they need to be able to see your ad. So if you are working for a company where the target is people who are very often away from the computer, it might not be right for you. And the second thing is really just a question of maths. I mentioned before the average cost of is $5. If you're selling a subscription product that is $10 or $20 a month, think about the amount of time you're going to have to recover the cost of acquisition in that case, and it might just be that the maths does not maths and it's not worth doing. You wouldn't be generating an ROI. So things to think about. And really, at the end of the day, I'm a strategic marketer with specialist areas of interest. So this was never going to be like a deep dive. Here's all the ad formats. Here's how to set up a campaign. I'm really interested in how LinkedIn ads can interact with other elements of your strategy, and also in the necessary basic marketing questions you need to ask before you set up the campaign to maximize your chances of success. So those are basic questions like, who is my target audience and who is not my target audience? So when I say that, I don't mean who do you think your target audience is and who would you like to be. If you're running your first campaign on LinkedIn ads and you want it to be successful, you should be targeting the people where you know that their profile are the type of people who are buying your products or at least getting into those later deal stages in the buying cycle. So as well as looking at your data in your CRM, talk to your salespeople, talk to your customer success team, talk to very often we have this team of people who speak to clients and B2B who don't leverage it as marketers. So talk to them. When I say that is not the target audience, I don't mean who obviously is not the target audience. I'm talking about a salesperson says to you, when we have a meeting and this particular job title is involved or this particular industry is involved, it never goes anywhere. They never end up buying. They're never an evangelist for us in their company. Why would you want to waste money targeting people like that? Target people who you're evangelists and who you're most likely to get over the line and get cold hard cash from. Another question to ask is, what role do you want LinkedIn to play in your broader marketing strategy? It's one thing running a campaign, but actually, what's the purpose of it? Do you want new data acquisition, so from people who've never interacted with your brand before? Do you want it to be a touch point for people who have maybe downloaded a white paper before or attended a webinar? Or actually, if you're on a limited budget, you might want to think about using it just to target people who are at the very bottom of the funnel. So people who are in those later deal stages and target them with content that's hopefully going to help push them over the line. So another thing to think about. And a stat to bear in mind, I'm sure we've all probably seen the stat thrown around in the last year, but according to Gartner, 83% of the B2B buying journey is now self-serve. So that means that B2B buyers get 83% of the way through their decision before they even interact with a sales rep or with an SDR. So another interesting stat from this study as well is that 75% of buyers would rather not speak to a sales rep at all. People really want to do their own research without that pressure of speaking to someone, without that commitment of having a slot in the diary of a call they have to attend. So we really need to think about that going forward into how we're going to roll out our general strategy. And that means that you really need to think about what happens to your leads after your targets do what you want on LinkedIn. Because there is nothing worse than running an absolute banging LinkedIn campaign and all your leads are sitting in HubSpot or Salesforce or whatever you use, and they're simply going cold and nothing ever gets touched. You might as well be taking all the money that you've spent on LinkedIn and throwing it in the bin or in a fire, because those leads are not going to remember you based on that one interaction. And Interestingly, when I was doing the research for this talk, there's a really boring, mundane thing that most businesses who are using LinkedIn lead gen form ads miss, but easy to implement, it won't cost you anything, and it's actually so mundane I almost didn't want to mention it, but I'm wondering if anyone can guess what it is first. So can anyone guess what businesses are not doing? If anyone wants to guess. It's okay, no one wants to guess. So after you fill in the lead gen form, it's like, thanks very much, and then you've got this button to download now, which although it's underlined, it doesn't screen click me. And an important thing to consider is that the average human attention span now is about 8 seconds. So that's down from 12 seconds in the early 2000s. So we have the attention span of a literal goldfish. And when you click this, if you do not read the report straight away, or if you navigate away from the screen, that's the content gone. It's very difficult to again find it. So the one thing that a lot of these businesses are not doing is sending you an email with the content that you wanted to download, and then telling you it was boring. But it's a real missed opportunity because firstly, well, if the person navigates away from your content or from LinkedIn before they click that button, that content is gone, they're not able to find it again. Secondly, it's a missed opportunity for you to introduce your business. It's a functional email. It doesn't need to be War and Peace, but basically, here's a copy of what you downloaded, thanks very much. By the way, this is our business and this is what we stand for. And it's that other opportunity for that person. It's another touch point. And thirdly, if you needed any more evidence, these are actual stats. So this is the B2B average open rate and CTO click-through, click-to-open rate. So that's the number of people who opened your email who then clicked through. This is an actual campaign I ran for a client on a matched audience. This is on that, the same follow-up email, just the thank you for your download, here it is. The open rate and click-through rate are significantly higher. And of course that's because they want the report, but they've opened the email and they've seen that extra bit of messaging from you. It's so easy to do, and yet of the 20 ads that I interacted with the lead gen forms on, only about 40% of people did it, and the 60% who didn't do any follow-up with you at all. So it's just a bit of a waste, really, and it upsets me. So as well as that, other things you could do next with those leads you get from LinkedIn, you can retarget them on other channels, think of Google Display Networks or Meta. You could do some lead scoring in your CRM, and then for the leads that you deem to be high value, put them back into LinkedIn and target them with some more lower funnel advertising. You could stick them in a sales sequence through a tool like SalesLoft. You could do more traditional marketing, email nurturing, or you could get the person who is your brand rep, you know, your SDR or even your C-suite, to organically nurture the contacts on LinkedIn. So send them a connection request. Don't pitch to them straight away, that's really annoying. But let them see the content that you're posting organically on LinkedIn. Let them just keep seeing your name. Like, do something, because if you do nothing, don't bother running. LinkedIn ads is too expensive to be doing nothing with the leads afterwards. An overview of things. Sorry, my chapter titling is not very inspiring. I think I did that in a bit of a rush. So just to dive deeper into some of those things I mentioned in the first part of the talk, targeting for me is one of the key draws of LinkedIn, but it is also a way to spend a lot of money. So this is a real life example. This is one of my clients, and this is a campaign from quite a few years ago that a marketing agency were running for them. Not to dump on marketing agencies, there are some fabulous ones. This one was maybe not one of them. And their targeting is, we would like to target anyone with the job seniority, which is quite a woolly definition, of director or manager in HR with companies over 5,000 employees. And that was it. And what that does is that gives LinkedIn kind of carte blanche to find anyone. And they will not do it based on the highest value person necessarily. They will do it based on who they think is going to convert and therefore what makes them more money. So I came into the business, and now the inclusion targeting looks like this. So I had to redact some of this for the privacy of my client. You can see we've switched to job title targeting, which is much more specific. And actually, when I spoke to the salespeople and the customer success people, they told me that actually we don't mind targeting people between between 1 and 5,000 employees, because the sales cycle is slightly shorter, there's a bit less bureaucracy. So, you know, just having that conversation also increased the pot of people that we could target who we knew fit our ICP. The targeting they had before also didn't include any exclusions. And I will reiterate that exclusions in LinkedIn targeting are as important, if not more important, than who you include. So think about those anti-personas that we discussed earlier, the people who are real blockers to deals going through. If you want to run a campaign for new data acquisition, you're definitely going to want to exclude your CRM data, you know, people whose contact details you already have, because your objective is new data. You want to make sure you're excluding partner companies, competitors, any of those industries which are just where your product is just not a smash hit. Get rid of them. Do not waste your money targeting people who are not going to be interested, and be really ruthless with it. And while you're running your LinkedIn campaign, you will still find job titles and things that slip through the cracks there, and you will need to keep updating this. I also explicitly excluded all the other company sizes just to be extra strict with LinkedIn, because it's naughty. It doesn't always do what you want. You can't actually see it down here because it's blocked, but there's a tick box, or you can kind of see it. There's a tick box that you're always opted into when you start a campaign called Enable Audience Expansion. Untick that, because that is kind of giving LinkedIn carte blanche to go after people they think might look like your target audience and spend all your money. And yeah, just untick it. If you've done a good job, you don't need them. Okay, bidding. Let's do a story time. Once upon a time, I saw a campaign with a hideous cost per click, and I want to pre-fund this by saying this was many years ago, and I was using maximum delivery bidding, thinking naively that that was me going, LinkedIn, I trust you, you've got the data, you've got the info, you know what bid is the right bid. But I've since learned that maximum delivery just means we will spend all your money and deliver to the maximum amount of people, which is not necessarily what you want. But imagine my rage when I went into this campaign, went to the bidding option, found the little hidden manual bidding option, clicked it, and saw that the suggested bid was £6 cheaper than what I was actually paying. I was livid, to be honest, at myself and a bit at LinkedIn. So my suggestion, if you're running your campaign, use manual bidding, and so long as you don't immediately need lots of leads, I would actually really lowball what your bid is. So in this case, it says £16.78, maybe I'd look at £4, you know, to start with, and then evaluate it week by week until you get to that sweet spot where you are getting the results you want and the CPC is palatable. You can't really see how it's hidden, but you get to the bidding strategy and there's like a little drop down extra you have to click because it's squirreled away because LinkedIn not to. Creative. B2B ads in general are really boring. They're dull, they're often dull, and at the end of the day you are interrupting someone's nice day they're having scrolling LinkedIn and vibing. So you really want to apply like the basic psychology to your creative, you know, bright colours, thinking about the real estate you actually have to work with. So this is an example. I mean, which one of these ads would make you stop scrolling, if any of them? Probably the one on the right? It's utilising colour, it's cleaner, it's bigger because they've opted for a one-to-one ratio image rather than the traditional landscape image. So yeah, I would just say bear in mind that short attention span that people have when browsing. And additionally, creative B2B ads have been shown to yield 40% higher purchase consideration. So it's actual science as well that you need to be applying as much creative thoughts to your B2B ads as if you were in a B2C company. And actually the adverts that have stopped me scrolling and have got my attention have sort of blurred the lines between what we consider traditional B2B ads and traditional B2C. So you've got Cognizant here being very playful and cheeky with the sensitive content icon that you see on Instagram for salacious pictures, but obviously they're, you know, kind of catfishing because it's about data samples. LinkedIn also last year released a new ad format called Thought Leadership Ads. So this kind of works like influencer ads. So this advert is actually from Salesforce, but they've boosted the post of their CEO, and generally the content there needs to be more personable, more human, kind of trying to just position whichever person you're promoting as a thought leader in the space. And then when it comes to creative, also basic things work. Like I talked about document ads before. If you think the one-to-one square ratio ad is obnoxious, document ads are just outrageously obnoxious, especially on desktop. You scroll and they will take up the entire screen that you are on. So Reddit have really leveraged this in combination with their branding, and they've really leaned into that like early noughties vibe with the hideous desktop and the Las Vegas arrow. But you know, it made me stop because it was bright and obnoxious, and it stopped my monkey brain from scrolling on it. So yeah, you will naturally want to test different types of creative if you are going to be experimenting with them. This is another quirk of LinkedIn that's hidden away. When you create your ads, there's a little cogwheel, as in this campaign, at the top of where you create them. You will find that by default, LinkedIn optimizes the performance for your ad rotation. So ad rotation being which ad gets shown to your audience. They don't specify what performance means, whether it's click-through rate or conversion rate. So if you want to take that control of that and run your own testing in more of a pure way, you just need to go down and select rotate ads evenly, and then that lets you, after a couple of weeks of running your campaign, choose which versions to keep live based on the metrics of your choosing, rather than what LinkedIn thinks. Some tactics, again with the uninspiring chapter titles. So I wanted to share with you some more, just some ideas for the kind of things that you can do on LinkedIn. It's nothing too specific, it's nothing too fancy. So you can make use of psychological phenomenon and kind of leverage marketing psychology by using what's called the fresh start effect. So this is somebody goes through a milestone in their life and it makes them step back, look at the bigger picture, they've got a renewed energy for things. So in the context of work, that might be a promotion or a job change or even a relocation somewhere. And on LinkedIn, you can actually target these people. And if you combine it with your ideal customer persona filters, it can be quite a powerful thing because you have created an audience of people who not only match your ICP, but are arguably more receptive to a white paper suggesting they look at their tech stack or something like that. This is actually a pretty cool list, the member traits, because you have things like expats, you also have things like career changes, so that's a segment of people who, based on their behaviour, LinkedIn think are likely to change careers. So if you're a university or you are a big website of online courses, that might be a targeting option that you can leverage. Matched audiences. So we've talked a lot about LinkedIn's native targeting, but matched audiences, that's where you upload a list of existing customers, or perhaps you've pulled a list from a GDPR compliant third party. Yeah, it can be very powerful. I've been using matched audiences recently, and we're getting really good results, really low cost per lead on those campaigns. So I'd really recommend giving it a try if you know your audience in and out, and if you know exactly who you want to target. One suggestion, because often personal email addresses are the ones associated with LinkedIn, I would use a data enrichment tool to get both their work and personal email address, just so you can increase that match percentage rate when you upload the audience. And of course, you can always add various exclusions, particularly using the native ads, so you can make that audience even more specific, even more powerful. Okay, document ads, I talked about them before. So the principle of a document ad, you can use it in a top of funnel way. So instead of having a single image, you offer a preview of the document that someone's going to download, and if they want to download it, then they just click the button, fill in the lead gen form, boom, they've got the document, they get an email with a copy of that document, hopefully, and then, yeah, lovely. Another interesting use case for it is slightly further down the funnel. So say you already have the person's data, but you want to push lower funnel content to them, or you know that they're really interested in your product. Just thinking about that statistic about people wanting to self-serve, them not wanting to interact with the sales rep, I would actually recommend running a doc ads campaign with most of the pages unlocked, if not all of them. And what that does is it basically allows that person to be exposed to your brand, exposed to the knowledge you have, to get the information they want, without having to fill in a lead gen form or complete any further steps. With this kind of information, like, why would you want to put up barriers to entry? Like, if somebody who is interested in your product wants to look at that kind of content, you know, don't stop them. I think we're obsessed with getting the lead, even if we already have their data at whatever cost, but clearly people are not responding to that. Like, people want to find out the information for themselves. So I saw this on Reddit for Business. Firstly, their targeting is great because I've been to 2 of their webinars about Reddit ads. And, you know, it's not going to win any design awards, but it's filled with statistics, tables, information. Really, I think the title of the paper is Turning Your Reddit Conversions into Buyers. So it's really thinking and taking me ahead to that next step and making me excited about the opportunity. Another cool thing is on the metrics. It's possible to see the number of people who viewed 25, 50, 75 and 100% of your document. So for testing, that's really interesting because you can obviously test different versions of the document, pages in different order, and you can work out where people are dropping off and only keep on the versions where people tend to linger for longer. Oh, dear Lord. Right, we're at the conclusion. We made it. So in conclusion, I think LinkedIn ads is a really rewarding channel. I think it's particularly exciting if you're a business and you've got a high ticket value product or service, and if you really understand your audience inside out and that you have a client-facing team who also understands that and can give you all of that more qualitative information. If you're thinking about running your first LinkedIn campaign, or you've tried it once, didn't really work, and you might dip your toe into it again, I would really recommend sourcing someone, be that in-house or external, who really knows what they're doing. They know the right questions to ask to stop you making those mistakes. They know the platform and all of the various tips and tricks I just shared. And they also know how to identify issues when really quickly while the campaign is running. But if you want to learn how to do it yourself, there are some really good resources out there. So Paid Media Pros, they're great for overviews on ad formats, bidding, and they don't just do LinkedIn ads, they do all the ad platforms. I find their videos really helpful. LinkedIn Ad Show is a podcast run by this guy, and I think it's on something like it's 100 and something episode. It's a really long running podcast, so it covers all sorts of topics, and it's a really good one to tune in and listen to. He's probably done a podcast on whatever your question about LinkedIn is. And then this is a channel I subscribe to. He is more strategic. I think he runs a marketing agency in the UK, but in his strategy videos, he folds in a lot of information about LinkedIn. So for example, the Fresh Start Effect I quoted, I got from one of his videos, and I'd really recommend subscribing to him for more of the strategy stuff. If you're sat here and you are a business owner or a commercial director or someone, and you don't know anything about digital advertising, yet alone LinkedIn ads, I put together a little ebook a while ago that just goes over a list of your options, what kind of ad formats are available, how much roughly they cost. The CPC data might be a little out of date, but I've got all the sources in there and they should be updated. And also there's actually a setup example for a advert on LinkedIn for a top of funnel ad. So yeah, not to like promote myself too shamelessly, but I spent lots of hours on Canva doing that and I need to use it. And that's it. I feel like I've just talked for like 30 minutes. It probably feels that way to you too. So if anyone has any questions or they want to go back over any of the slides, I'm really happy to like go over them. Or if there's just a bit where I totally lost you and you want me to explain again, like, yeah, go for it. I've thrown a lot at you.
I have one. Oh,
yes.
Sorry. In terms of budget, because I mean I was running LinkedIn campaigns in smaller countries, and obviously people have less budget. The target group is even smaller than in countries like the UK. What would be your recommendation there?
Like in terms of actual number for budget, or just how to make the most of it? Sorry.
No, in actual number of budget, how much do you need to spend, and how you would treat kind of small target groups, because I'm from Austria, was running campaigns there, and it's really a small country. So if you kind of cut down your audience to these people, you say, then you have really only kind of 5 people left or something.
Yeah, so a thing to know about LinkedIn ads is that the minimum audience run a campaign. I'll like deal with your question like section.
Yeah, sorry, it was a bit mixed.
No, that's okay. The second thing to bear in mind, this is just advice for if you're running campaigns targeted at a very small audience. Your ad frequency, so that's the number of times that one person sees your ad, is going to be astronomical, and unfortunately there's no way to cap it in LinkedIn properly. So my suggestion would also be, if you're targeting a small audience, you're going to want to run lots of different ads and lots of different versions of the same ad so that they don't get that wallpaper effect. When it comes to budget, I mean, so in the first example I gave, that $400 did a 2-week campaign and got us 30 leads. So it's really like, if you've run a campaign before and you know roughly what your cost per acquisition is, it's kind of extrapolating that. But I will say, really, really small budgets don't really work on LinkedIn. And if you have a limited budget, you might want to prioritize doing something like a retargeting campaign to people who are already warmed up, where the pot is a lot smaller. But I mean, I've attended some webinars where they say for LinkedIn, you need at least $1,000 a month, or you need $4,000 a month. And I don't think that's necessarily true, but I think you need to be realistic about how far that money can go. I hope that's been helpful.
Yeah, I mean, because LinkedIn themselves, they need at least 50 euros per day in order that the algorithm is going to work or something like that.
Exactly. I think the minimum bid daily budget is $10. So yeah, about 12.
But it doesn't make sense to run a campaign for $10 a day.
Yeah, you can do. I mean, I've worked on some that do have that running. Maybe branding campaigns where the cost per click is going to be a bit lower than the lead gen campaign. I would say, yeah, it's better to just, if you're talking to the C-suite, whoever's controlling the budget, like just manage their expectations about how far that's going to go on LinkedIn. It's not like Facebook or Meta, so you might want to try, depending on your industry, something like Reddit ads. Reddit ads have really upped their offering in the last year or so, where you can actually target, do some sort of keyword targeting based on the topic that's being discussed. And obviously there's a certain way to do that advertising because it's a bit of a niche, but yeah, might be something to consider depending on your industry because it's a bit cheaper. Cool. Dean, did you have a question?
Oh yeah. First of all, thank you so much. That was really insightful. So I have a client who's been running meta ads successfully, as far as I'm aware. I haven't been running them, but he's been getting good leads.
Yeah.
But now he wants to target a different type of client, and I think that this type of client is more likely to be found on LinkedIn. So I kind of want to pitch this idea of running LinkedIn ads.
Sure.
But I'm just not really sure how to pitch it right, because of course with the higher cost per click, I think he might be a little scared. So I'm just wondering if you have any tips on like how do I pitch this in a way that sort of resonates with him so he can make the right decision.
Sure. When you say a new type of client, is this a client that's already buying the product, or is this somebody where he thinks his product is right for this particular client, he wants to reach out to this particular persona?
So he wants to, so in the past for meta ads, for example, he's been targeting like smaller businesses like realtors and carpenters, but now he wants to go after financial institutions, so specifically marketing people that work for banks and financial consultancies and these types of people.
This is quite pivot.
He has many different, but it's this sort of this like interactive calculator that works really well if you have something that needs calculated, like a mortgage or something.
Okay.
And it works really well, and he has a really good experience with a Danish bank already, so he has some social proof and everything. So yeah, that's sort of like the case, and
So yeah, the strategy, I can't say it, my teeth fall now. The strategist in me says that he needs to have some like concrete market research backing that up, and actually really getting into the nitty gritty of what that buyer looks like. So what exactly is their job title, what size company are they working for? Because I think this is a mistake a lot of businesses make, is they go into LinkedIn and they leave their targeting a bit broad, and they've maybe wanted to reach out into an area, into a new client, and they've not done the proper research. But providing all that research is in place and you've had those conversations with like your client-facing salespeople, or maybe he's got other colleagues in the same industry who are confirming what he's saying and can give him that information, I would just mention that LinkedIn is it's a dedicated B2B platform. You've got other fun options like the document ads. It is premium, that is the feel of it, it's premium, and you will pay for it, but you those unique targeting options that you don't have on Meta for new data acquisition. That's kind of the key thing. If you want new data, Meta's not going to cut it. You're not going to be able to reach those people in an efficient way. So yeah, I hope, is that like helpful?
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah.
Sumi.
Yeah, I want to ask about attribution. For
Yes.
example, if somebody see LinkedIn ad, they didn't click it, but they see the same similar ad on Google Ads.
Yeah.
So how would you define your ROI based on that? Because everybody's using Google or using Meta, they have a wider audience based on LinkedIn. LinkedIn has B2B, but you run the same ads. So how would you define your ROI based on attribution?
Yeah, but that's actually a really interesting, difficult question. Yeah, I think we all share the same pain, right? That
Yeah.
attribution,
Yeah.
brand awareness is very hard to attribute to. I would suggest framing your ROI, because I think a lot of the time ROI, yes, of course, you should think about your bottom line growth. But I think also things like impressions, your reach, that's an option, your share of the audience that you are getting, all of that is equally important. At the end of the day, if somebody sees an ad on LinkedIn, it's going to be really hard to attribute that if they make their conversion further down the way. I wonder if there is some third party, because I looked at a couple of like third party ad aggregators who could claimed they could do that sort of attribution, but I think it's very difficult indeed. So to answer your question, it's looking at those, I want to say like more fluffy metrics, like reach, impressions, what percentage of your audience that you specified did you reach, and then the engagement, like clicks and leads, that should kind of follow. But yeah, I mean, I've not really answered your question, it's difficult, that's the answer. But remember, I think it's something now like, it used to be, B2B buyers need 12 touch points before they consider buying something. That number is more likely to be 20, 30, 40, like realistically, and a lot of it we just don't know, and that kind of sucks, but definitely not having any brand trust content or advertising also sucks, because if somebody then converts and they're in the consideration stage, then why should they trust you? They don't know you, they've not seen you around. It's about building that reputation too. So yeah, thanks. Okay, Alexander.
Just you were talking about data enrichment tools to get some of the business email addresses.
Yes.
Do you have any that you recommend? Because a lot of them have been like nixed by my company. They've been like, oh, you guys can't use that.
Oh, okay, interesting.
Yeah.
One of my clients uses Clay. We found that quite good. I think
Okay.
it can. It's done on like credits per thing you request. So I think at mass it can get like quite expensive, but that's been one
Okay.
that's been suggested
Cool.
by a client to me. Cool. Yes.
Regarding to the AI, how you use it, AI for any way for improve the campaigns or for create campaign?
So, I mean, there's not a lot of LinkedIn ads do give you an option to create a campaign with AI. It's literally just been launched, it's in beta. I'm not massively impressed with it, and I would probably suggest at this stage, until it gets quite a lot better, to be creating your own campaigns. Of course, you can use it as kind of a vomit draft of, sorry, that's a horrible term, but you know what I mean, like a first draft of your campaign, and tweak it and make it better and improve it. But yeah, in terms of AI, I'm not gonna lie, I sometimes use AI like to help me generate copy if I'm trying to fit, like, you know, in detailed prompts. So look at this tone of voice, I've uploaded my brand book, here's the thing I'm advertising, like give me some ideas. AI I definitely use as more of a like bouncing ideas around than doing anything like to optimize LinkedIn. There's aside from in creation, and obviously I guess the things like the performance, I was about to call it performance max, what do I mean, maximum delivery bidding, and the optimizing your ad rotation based on the best performer, that's using AI to an extent. But yeah, AI for me personally, I use it mostly to like bounce copy ideas around and kind of come up with that first idea of what the campaign will look like. Okay, cool. Shall we go and have beers then?
Not yet.
Can I take the headphones out now?
Yeah.
Because I couldn't, when everyone was asking me my question, it was sort of noise cancelling, so I really had to concentrate. Yeah, well, I hope you enjoyed. I just want to thank you all for coming again, and thank you again to the Digital Marketing Manager crew for inviting me. And yeah, Alexandra.
Thank you. You can feel free to take a seat, go fan yourself. Cool. Some of you have been here before. Some of you.
You're not on camera.
You
You are.
So some of you have been here before, some of you have not. For those who have not been here, we have a little tradition. Could you raise your hands if it's the first time you're coming to this event? Nice, nice.
It's
So,
gonna be fun.
yeah, this is our favorite part, which is where we make everybody stand up. So everybody who's new,
Stand up.
just stand up.
Stand
It's a
up.
little exercise.
Let's be quick.
Yeah. It's gonna be super quick. We're gonna ask you to come here and just introduce yourself. Say your name, your project. It's like your 5 minutes or 5 seconds. Okay, sorry, not 5 minutes. 5 seconds of fame. So you can come here, you can say who you are, what you're into, if you have a project or an agency, if you sell a service. It's a great time to get to know people. So come on up.
Come on, you have to be on the live stream.
Yeah. But you guys can all come up. Sumi, you too.
All at the same time.
Hello, my
How's
name
it?
is Alba. I work in marketing also. I'm a copywriter and a content creator.
Okay, I can start. Hi, I'm Sumi. I'm a digital product manager. I work in e-commerce and I have experience in product management for over 10 years.
Hi, I'm Amy. I run a small affiliate marketing agency.
Hi, my name is Javier. I used to be a product manager for a B2B software company. But now I'm now pivoting to do coaching.
Hi, I'm Jordana. I run a small search engine marketing agency out of Canada, and we specialize in SEO.
Well, hello, my name is Santiago, and I want to start a AI automation agency. So I want to learn a little bit about marketing and stuff. So yeah.
My name is Nina, and I'm a freelancer, and I mostly do content marketing.
And I'm Kayla, and I work for Concentrates.
Alright.
Sorry, I'm Lawrence. I think I'm in the wrong place. I don't know anything about marketing, but I'm just starting a regenerative business, which aims to transform our society, I suppose, through education and through working with companies, and hopefully based from here.
Hi all, my name is Jose. I know the classic Spanish name. I'm SEO lead. I'm gonna be manager too. I'm here just to learn a little more about things.
Perfect. Thank you.
Right.
I'm
Thanks a
gonna
lot.
do something new. Is there anybody who hasn't introduced themselves in a while and would like to take a 5-second for fame opportunity? All right, everybody wants beers.
No one wants to sell anything. That's
Nobody
weird.
nobody wants to sell their business.
Why?
Nobody wants a job. Nobody wants clients.
All right.
You want to well, get up and introduce
Come on,
yourself.
Rene.
I should have said, do you want clients instead of do you want fame? All right, well,
I am in the face.
Oscar? Okay, we'll get you to the beer.
So my name is Reme. I am a personal brand story strategist. I help people to choose which story to share, so they highlight the benefits of what they said. And if anyone needs help with that, happy to help.
Oscar, over there. On the left. That's it.
Hello, my name is Oscar. I know a lot of you, many familiar faces. I've been living in Malaga for 2 years now. I used to work in New York for a lot of big marketing agencies, but when I moved here, I decided to go a little bit more on a different direction. I've also been an entrepreneur for a few years, and now I'm doing workshops in addition to my coaching for entrepreneurs and doing a Wim Hof method workshops. And it's a methodology that combines breath work with a cold exposure, and I have one going on next Saturday. If you're interested, we can grab a beer later. Thank you.
It's not my first time, it's my second time here, but I present myself again. So I'm Nicole, I'm living for 1 year now in Malaga. I'm still working for a French company that some of the women know, so it's Chantel Lingerie, which is here sold in Cording List, for example. I'm in digital marketing for 13 years. I managed a lot of e-commerce and not only marketing projects in the last 9 years at Chantel in retail. I'm looking for a new job because my French company doesn't want to continue remote. So that's a pity after 9 years, but that's how it is. So it was a choice of living for me to be here, and I'm completely happy about this. But I'm looking actively for a new job, which is not as easy for me. So I'm also open for remote and non-Spanish companies. So if someone is looking for someone around e-commerce marketing, even to in B2B, I'm willing to change. So I'm also open for change. And I'm looking for maybe that's interesting for someone. And if someone has experience with this, I'm really open to discuss this. I'm looking to do training on project management. So maybe to pivot a little bit my career to project management. So I'm looking to do this. And so if someone does project management, product manager, I hope so. I'm willing to discuss.
Excellent. Thanks.
Well, we have our
Anyone
usual
else?
announcements. Yeah.
And now, last but not least, we are Digital Marketing Malaga. I don't know if you said earlier,
We said
Diego,
nothing.
we do this just for fun, right? You can join our, I don't know if, who of you are not in our WhatsApp group? Oh, there's a few, right. So you go to our website, digitalmarketingmalaga.com, you register there. There is a free option, right? There is a paid option, but there's also a free option. You log in, and then you get a QR code to get into our WhatsApp group. We are like 250, I think. Sometimes there are interesting conversations there. And
I love your.
Feels like you rehearsed this. Honesty.
The banter is real, everything else is fake.
That's it. And then one of the last things, we want to thank Impact Hub Malaga for lending us this space. There is a special discount for DMM members, right? If someone is working remotely and wants to breathe a little bit, we have a discount for members. I will share the discount code in the WhatsApp group, so if you are there, you will see it. Okay.
Lead generation.
It's a lead magnet. And we usually go to have some beers after every event. So where are we going?
First, we need to announce the next meetup, which is happening. Get out your calendars for
Alright.
May 23rd.
Is it? I
What
don't
is-
remember.
Are you joking?
Yes, there is a new meetup. Let's check the calendar because we have to be serious.
Also Friday.
It is. No, it's always is a Thursday
So
at
it's
7
the
p.m.
22nd.
That's a tradition.
Ah,
We've been
22nd.
doing this for
So I messed up
8
again.
years, and every month we did it on Thursdays, 7 p.m. So honestly, I don't see it.
It's May
22nd.
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 Yeah,
May
sorry.
22nd.
Sometimes I don't know what day is.
Our speaker is Ruben
Yorak. He's going to
Yorak.
be coming from Barcelona.
Yes.
He's going to be talking about why, so actually this goes pretty well with today's talk, is why B2B marketing doesn't have to be boring. So he's going to give some of his best tricks, tips. We'll be announcing it, I think, next week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's pretty much there. So that's in May, and in
May
5 minutes,
22nd.
let's have a beer. All right? All good? Anything else? Someone wants to sell something at the last meeting or not? All right, let's go. Thanks a lot, everyone.
Thank you.
That was the
I don't know which one.
Remember when we
Where
had
we-
the Christmas dinner? Like a year ago, 2 years ago, I don't know. La Regaña, Calle Salitre.
In Calle Salitre. Right.
It's a 6-minute walk, literally, timed on Google. Google never lies.
So if you want, you can go there with Alexandra.
Okay.
And we will stay and move a couple of things. Set everything up. See you there. Thanks.
prepare for this. So you need to prepare for the retreat.
That's how it that way it was more natural. You prepare too much.
All right, I'm going to.
I don't prepare for the workshop anymore, but I should be prepared to sell it.
There.